Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is Paddock Live. Joining me, it's old school, it's full-time Devil's Days. It's Gaz Drinkwater. How are we doing, brother?
All good, mate. Yeah.
Good. Thank you for coming in. Joe Smith is a bit poorly sick, so best wishes to Joe. He'll be feeling better. I think the absolute just football feast he was served last night was just too much for him. He couldn't cope with it, so it's sent him into the bathroom. Hopefully though.
Hey, it gave me the shit.
I know, mate. It was awful, wasn't it? Listen, we've got a load of stories to get through, but make sure you get involved in the chat and the comments, and letting us know what you think about all the stories we're going to be talking about. We're talking about Erik ten Hag. Is he under pressure? Is he not? Are the board with him? Is the rumblings, all that jazz? Andre Onana, he's not having a great time with it. What's happening with him? This bloke, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, looks like he's restructuring, reoffering, coming up with a new idea of a way of buying Manchester United Football Club off these two absolute testicles. So we'll see what's going on there. So there's a few stories to get through there. Also, the ticket farce as well, because were you there last night, you?
Yeah. I was there as a fan as well. I wasn't working, so I was just there as a fan. When I can't remember which one it was either the second or the third, and I just saw everyone looking behind me like that, up to the upper tiers. I didn't see what was going on, but it must have been Galatasaray fans.
Galatasaray fans in the United, and you never get me going in home end of European game.
Never.
Okay. So we'll get into all that as well. Loads of comments already. I'll go run through some of them. Make sure you are hitting that like button as well, people. Glenn F is here. Always good to see Glenn. Ross Murphy, Sam Sharkey, Lizzie C says Glazers out. Rightly so. John Neal, great to see John Neal. This is a full-time Devils reunion.
Sam Sharkey as well, American Sam. Nice to have you on, American Sam. He comes on our show. He's a good lad. Yeah, he's a good lad.
Just plug your show for everyone who doesn't
Total
know.
Sport, BBC Radio Manchester. But if you're a United fan, you're probably more interested in the Devil's Advocate podcast. Myself and Joe McGrath. You know Joe McGrath.
Joe McGrath.
Everyone knows Joe McGrath. He's
the third most talented member of the Sloppy Joes podcast. Good vibes, John Shin in the house. He says, Gaz!
Legend.
He is a legend, isn't John Shin?
I love John.
I love John Shin more than I love any of my children.
I love...
Like, what? I do.
I love John's, not relentless positivity, that makes it sound like a bad thing, but like, I see him post on Instagram and stuff like that, and it just always brings a smile to my face how much he loves Man United. I love it.
He's not like that when you meet him, though. You met him in real life.
I don't think ever.
He doesn't even like United.
Does he not?
And he kicks off all the time.
Oh,
especially when he's on a beer.
Is he a rowdy bastard, is he? Thought he might be,
We were out with him in New York, he was just glassing people. It was crazy.
Imagine that. What an image that is.
He wasn't, he's lovely, and he absolutely adores Manchester United. Why anyone would adore Manchester United in a minute, I don't know. Right, let's talk about Erik ten Hag and what he's saying about Andre Onana. Guys, you're ace at reading.
I'm so good.
You are.
Top of my Key Stage 2 class.
I'm about to say, when it comes to like the basic literacy, this guy has got it on lockdown. Go on, talk us through this, my friend.
Right, is that a pun that I'm missing out on? Onana, come on. Onana, come on. That's what it is. Hey! Well done.
We're having that one.
I figured it out as I read it, right?
Also, why has Onana's picture been taken on a potato, by the way?
I don't know what's going on.
It looks all right there. It's just there. I'll let you off. Right, go on.
Right, so Erik ten Hag has backed Andre Onana after his costly errors last night. Ten Hag's insisted that he has the capability of becoming one of the best goalkeepers in the world. We're happy with our goalkeeping group, definitely with Andre. He was in one semi-final of the Champions League last year. He was in the final of the Champions League. He has capabilities to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He has shown that, and he will do. We already have seen in games his great capabilities, also his personality after he made mistakes. He will bounce back, and I'm sure he will in the coming games as well.
He wants to, and I don't blame Erik ten Hag for backing him. He just spent 60 million quid on the lad. What's this apostrophe doing here?
That's
one of the best goalkeepers.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, plural. Goalkeepers doesn't own anything here.
That's why I stuttered while I was reading
I know. You put reading Gaz, who's elite at reading, you put him off with this absolutely unwarranted apostrophe.
You totally put me off.
Hey, we spoke about this, didn't we?
That is a disgrace.
You've done really well on your pun. We were loving that. Absolutely loving it. It's one of the best ever.
Might be.
And then just 3 lines later, or 5 lines later, my count is not great. You've undone it all.
Do your job.
You've undone all that good work. I'm only joking. Right, he's got to back him, hasn't he?
Yeah, well,
you can't spend 60 million quid, get rid of one of the most successful goalkeepers we've ever had, and go, oh, I'll tell you what, this new lad I've bought, he's rubbish. he's got to come out public.
He's got to back him, and I was expecting Onana to make some mistakes early on in his United career.
Yep.
I knew it was going to happen, and I knew that people would over-exaggerate, and I knew that 2 months into the season, people would be debating whether we made the right decision to bring him in and get rid of David De Gea. You could see it coming because of the way he plays. I hope that by the end of this season, he's like fully settled in and we're getting it. Because there's been periods like the Arsenal game, early on in the Arsenal game, where he's pinging balls left, right and centre, finding players every single time. You're like, I get this. I get why he's got him. But then there's times now in games where it's like, you have a ball-playing goalkeeper, right? Because City have one and Liverpool have one. Now, I know Liverpool finished below us in the league last season, but I think City and Liverpool and Arsenal, obviously, are probably the 3 on paper best teams in the country. I hate to say it, but that's what I think.
Sorry.
I think that Ten Hag has got a goalkeeper like this because he's like, I want to be like them in terms of I want to dominate teams. I want to go out and dominate teams. And I just don't think this United squad is good enough to dominate teams. And I often think at times in games, a goalkeeper more like David De Gea would kind of make sense for the level United are at. But he's the level he wants United to be at. We're just not there yet,
I think... I understand what you're saying. One thing I would push back on though, Lisandro Martinez got De Gea out of trouble a lot last season. We miss him so much. Like it's almost gone under the radar. Like Martinez, because even when we had him this season, he's not been the Martinez of old. No. If you watch him last season when he was getting put under pressure with balls from David De Gea, he handles it so well. He can have 3 men round him and he'll get himself out of trouble and find a way. Luke Shaw as well, he's excellent on the ball. You're missing him. At the moment, you've got Sofian Amrabat, who's a midfielder, who's just come to England playing at left back for you.
Good point.
Like, you're missing 2 of your back 4 that make a difference when you're trying to play out from the back.
Fair, yeah.
So I think he'll come good. I understand your point. And I think that you look at Arsenal, they've gone with Raya, haven't they? Because they've looked at Ramsdale, who I thought I did all right for him. I'm not his biggest fan. And they've gone, look, we want to progress a little bit better. I think this kid, I hope, and I still do believe in him, but he's got to turn it around quick, sooner rather than later. I want to ask you one thing, though. Do you keep him in for the Brentford game? Because he's got Bayern.
Of course you do.
Brought in Bayern, and you remember, I was talking about this last night, when Fergie brought in De Gea and Lindegaard, and he swapped him, didn't he? When De Gea was struggling, he went, was going to give him a bit of a breather, or just keep this kid playing?
I think you keep him playing.
Fair enough.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I watched loads of Bayern Day when he was
I'd never heard of him until we got him.
I'll be honest, we spoke to a Turkish journalist, on our show, and they did not rate him at all. Okay. They were like, I'm so glad we're getting rid of him, honestly.
Really?
Like, genuinely, like, they did not rate him at all. That is all I'm basing my opinion off.
Well, at least it's someone who, like, you know, who's watched him.
Yeah, watched him.
I haven't got a counter argument there. I haven't watched him, and I think that's rubbish.
Yeah, like, so look, maybe we could see what he's like, eh? But look, this ain't a De Gea, Sergio Romero situation where Romero was maybe not quite as good as David De Gea, but pretty much up there. I think there's a big gap between the two. So yeah, you'd have to keep him in just so the players get used to him a little bit more. You know what I mean? That's what I think anyway.
There's loads of people in the chat. We'll get through some of your comments. Let us know what you think about Andre Onana, about what is going on. Stephen Orr says we need to stick with Ten Hag. If we sack him, we'll have a team full of his players. MB, I love that. Yeah. MB, Daniel Berry says, what is our style of play? We don't press or stay compact. MB says Onana has been very poor, but Lindelof not being able to track his man. Varane being on jelly legs and not having any first choice left back available isn't helping.
Gallo getting bullied last night off the ball.
Oh, I like though. Let himself down with that one. Carnivore says anyone thinking that keeping Erik Ten Hag is the answer is totally clueless. Ash Ose says we've been so bad at retaining the ball. I like the Hannibal Casemiro and Amrabat makes grafters. We'll hunt the ball down, go back to basics. Bruno's been poor and Eriksen hasn't got the legs. Whitterbird says Martinez in his interviews made you realise his mentality was what made the back better, with making them realise how to fight like you were keeping your family fed. Yes, I love that. Lisandro Martinez, he's such a big player for us, and he's such a big player for Erik Ten Hag, obviously. Glenn F says, so many people who are not United fans in the chat as always. Yeah, Wilson, people love to get involved, don't they?
Mate, can I just say, we're the biggest football club in the world still. Certainly in England. And I know that means nothing. I'd rather be winning trophies and stuff like that. It's not exactly a trophy, is it? But for example, when we got beat at the weekend, and I'm thinking, City got beat as well. I might just switch a sports radio station on. I'll leave them unnamed. Talksport. And I thought I'd listen to them for an hour and just see what they sound like, because I'm thinking, surely it's a bigger story that City, who have just won the treble, probably the best team in Europe on paper, it's a big story that they've been beat by Wolves. Nope. No. An hour on Man United. Why? Because if your average Millwall fan is driving around in his van and he switches them on and they're talking about Man City, he's like,
Who are they? What?
No, I literally don't care.
115 charges.
Oh, wait a minute, you're all slagging off Man United.
Oh, I'll bet that. I'll ring him. I'll join in.
Yeah.
No, it's always been the same, hasn't it, with United. We've always been, hated, adored, and never ignored. Right, let's
I could ignore him.
I know. Right, let's talk about the ticket farce. So go on, Gaz, work your magic. Hang on a minute.
Galatasaray. Hey, that's my seat.
I like that.
I'm not giving. You're
not having that one.
I like it,
man.
Applause.
Galatasaray, hey, that's my seat.
So United are investigating Galatasaray fans sitting in the home seats. The Turkish side were obviously surprise 3-2 winners in Manchester, but during and after the game, a large section of what appeared to be Galatasaray fans gathered in the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, while hundreds more appeared in the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, making their way towards the away section to join in with the celebrations. At this stage, United believe that touting and sales through official channels to UK-based Galatasaray fans was the cause of the issue.
Right, can we just talk about this for a minute? Because there's a lot to pick through here. Listen, I've done it. I went to the new camp, I was in the Barca end, I went to Atletico, I was in the Madrid end. It happens, right? I'm not even that angry at Galatasaray fans for getting in the home end.
Not at all.
I think what I was moaning about this morning when I saw this story is the club just being hypocrites. Because the club have been like, let's say I'm not going to the game and I say, yeah, do you want my ticket? And I just go, pass me ticket. I can't do that.
No.
You've got to do it officially through get your membership number, and you've got to be part of my...
And if I'm not a membership, let's not forget I've got to pay money.
You've got to pay money, so I can't give
it's all about that.
And even if we were brothers or whatever, like, I can't do that. I just give my brother my ticket. He's got to be a member. It's like, you can't pass it on. They clamp down on this. People are losing the tickets because of this nonsense. Just not making money off it, or just giving your friend or your family member your ticket. But unless it's all done officially through the membership thing, you can get in trouble. And yet, you've had Galatasaray fans buying tickets through the membership thing. And then we've seen these stories out saying, it's United fans, season ticket holders selling their tickets to Galatasaray fans. What? No, we're not.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
And they'll blame it on the fans as well.
Of course
And I do want to say one thing as well, by the way. Galatasaray fans in the home end, from what I saw, did not cause any issues in terms of, that could happen and there'd be scraps and stuff like that. And there weren't. That's not what I saw. They just seemed like they were having a bloody good time. Fair play to them.
I know it infuriates everyone, but I'm not that bothered about it.
No, I'm not. I do the same thing. I'm annoyed at United for, like you say, how impossible or how difficult they have made it for fans to actually be able to go to the game. There is no reason why I should not be able to give my ticket to a friend or a family member. I should not have to do the rigmarole that Manchester United force us to go through. And all this stopping ticket touts, it's making it worse. It's making it worse.
John Neal there makes a good point. He said, so 100 season tickets, all in one section, got together and sold their tickets. Yeah, makes no sense. Imagine all these season ticket holders in this one block when we're all collectively going to sell all our tickets to Galatasaray fans, because I know about you, but I know loads of Galatasaray fans.
Oh, loads.
Yeah. I've got loads of them ringing me up all the time for United tickets. I don't know one. Like, it's just nonsense.
It is nonsense.
It's quick. How can we make this about United fans and how it's their fault? But the club is just rubbish.
It's another example, I think, of Manchester United just being totally out of touch with the fan base, of the people who make these decisions, of Manchester United having absolutely no clue about modern football fans. And I think Manchester United and the way they treat their fans is one of the worst, I think, of football clubs in Europe. I think it's absolutely disgraceful how they treat our match-going fans. I really, really do.
I agree. I saw the Galatasaray fans yesterday. I was getting the bus because I didn't go to the game. I was here last night for the watch along. So I gave my ticket to someone via perfectly legitimate means, and in fact, I just sold it. I just sold it to a Galatasaray fan for £1,000.
Well,
I mean, he was carrying a knife and he said he was like fuming at 80 United fans, but it'll be all right. Don't worry about it. Just give it him.
Well, the last thing that you'd ever want to do, Jay, is like just screenshot your ticket and send it to your mate. Because there's absolutely no way, is it, they'd get in on that. There's no way. The last thing you'd want to do is buy like a concession ticket and just get in on that. Because they always check them, don't they? Every single time. So that's the last thing you'd want to do.
That's the last thing you want to do.
Don't do that.
But anyway, I was, don't.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
I was on the bus, right, coming into the office. And the bus stopped and saw the police. And I thought, here we go. Tory conference. That's what I thought. Tories, he's bringing the city centre to a standstill, the bloody toffee-nosed whoppers, right? So I got off the bus because I thought, we're not moving, I may as well walk, because it was near enough to walk from there. So I started walking and I thought, these Tories look a bit different from the usual, like 2,000 Galatasaray fans in Galatasaray shirts and that all singing, chanting Galatasaray songs. So I thought, I'll do a little bit of filming, you know, like a bit of content for the old Stretford Paddock. But I learned my lesson from the Dortmund fans, right? Because I bumped into Dortmund fans and I filmed them for like just 20 seconds, whatever, last season, whatever it was. I think they were playing Say. A few of them kicked off. Like, a few of them went for my phone, like they were having it. And I thought, I've had people filming me, I don't give a toss, but they got a bit like, and I was like, there was loads of coppers around me, so I was like, yeah, what are you saying? Because I thought brave, because I had coppers there. Grabbing my phone, you knobhead. You get your jaw snapped. Stay there, officer. But yesterday when I was filming the Galatasaray fans, I noticed I was in a bit where there was no one near me. And I thought, if anyone starts kicking off me, I'm on my own. So I thought, I don't fancy having a scrap with a load of Galatasaray fans. So I just filmed for about 9 seconds. You'll see our video on that we put out. It wasn't very long. I just wanted to capture the fans going down there.
If you listen at the end, you hear Jay going, sorry!
I love Galatasaray, mate. Go on, good luck tonight, lads. Yeah, I don't like. Listen, they came down here, they brought big numbers, they got in at home end. It happens. The club needs to look at it. Stop demonising Manchester United fans. Stop demonising football fans, full stop.
Yeah.
And let's just, get on with it. Ant L says, nothing surprises me under these scumbags. Well said. Hashtag Glazers out, as always. Talking of which, Sir Jim Ratcliffe of Failsworth. What? What's this?
Sir Slim Ratbid.
I feel like these puns are getting progressively worse. I ain't going to lie to you. You do really well at the first one, the Onana one. Galatasaray one I gave you, he didn't, and I understand. This one...
It's just flat out no.
Right.
So Jim Ratcliffe planning another way of buying total control over Man United. So apparently he could finally outmaneuver Qatar by attaching long-term ownership clauses to a new, slimmer 25% bid for Man United. Telegraph Sport understands a wide array of investment options are being discussed with the Glazers, but the Ineos owner is still eyeing eventual control. So Jim, who had previously only formalised immediate takeover offers, is now understood to be considering a number of alternatives in an attempt to get the upper hand. That's according to the Telegraph.
What do you make of this?
I just think, man, I mean, personally, from my personal perspective, I'd like Sir Jim Ratcliffe to be the owner of Manchester United. I'd like Sir Jim Ratcliffe to be the owner of 100% of Manchester United. It worries me, obviously, the concerns. I think that any owner that comes in at Manchester United should be held to account by the fans, because this is our club, not his, not Qatar's, not the Glazers. They should be held to account, and everything they do should be scrutinised. And if he does come in at Man United, I will scrutinise every single decision that is made by the ownership, because I don't think, this is just a personal opinion of mine, I don't think there is a billionaire in the world who is greener than green. It's been accused of greenwashing, so I suppose
I didn't even know greenwashing is a thing until he started getting involved.
And so you cannot, every single person is going to have ethical issues. For me, my personal perspective, Man United fans, you're a fan, whatever you want, go, like, that's fine. Whatever your opinion is, I'm not judging anyone for what their opinion is. My personal opinion is he would be my choice. But who knows, mate? Who knows?
Yeah,
might be like the Glazers. You don't know.
I'm with you. I think both bids are flawed. I want the Glazers gone. If this is a step towards him getting rid of them, and this is the best way he can do it by 25%, then you buy the rest, or you buy it in increments. There was talk that this deal, as you mentioned there, it leads to the full takeover. Then I'm okay with that. Again, I don't think there's a perfect scenario. I don't want us to be sports washed. I don't want us to be owned by any state. I ain't got nothing against Qatar.
Exactly.
I don't want us to be owned by any state. Yeah. And I'm not 100% sold on this geezer and buying his local boy done good stick. But it does look like the lesser of two evils, for better expression.
It's like, and people will say, like, oh, well, how come you're okay with a British owner but not a Qatari owner? And it's like, nah, it's not that. It's the fact that it's linked to the state. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe was
Prime
linked
Minister
to the government, then I'd be like, nah.
No, forget that.
I don't want the UK government owning Man United, no matter who's in charge.
Yeah, no.
That's just me.
I'm with you, because people say, oh, do you think the UK government are horrible? Yes, I do. I criticise the government constantly. I hate them. I don't want them owning Manchester United. I don't want any government, really, or state owning us. So Jim Ratcliffe, he's not perfect by any stretch of imagination. Let me know what you think anyway, because I know there's quite a lot of people that prefer the Qatari bid. I don't think I've spoke to anyone who wants the Glazers to stay, by the way.
Let's just, and also, I get that people are so passionate about this, and they should be as well, because this is Man United, and this is something that we all love. We all want the same thing, don't we? Man United to be successful again. But like, the conversation, the arguments around it get so vile and so nasty.
And that's
and
just
so
me and
horrible.
you arguing.
That's
just me and you talking.
And it's accusations left, right and centre of, oh, well, if you support that bid, you're a racist. But if you if you support that bid, then you support human rights abuses. Yeah. That's not the case.
You know,
it's not.
A lot of fans that I speak to would love to just go to the game or sit at home and watch 22 lads kicking a ball around a bit of grass. That's what you want to do, a bit of a pastime, a bit of a hobby, a bit of escapism. Just go and watch the game. A lot of people don't want to have these conversations, these arguments, these protests, but we're in a position where we've got to, where we have to, because we've got these owners who have done nothing but ruin this football club ever since they come over. They got away with it for a certain amount of time because of Sir Alex Ferguson's genius. We haven't been getting away with it since 2013. You've got a stadium that's crumbling, falling apart with leaky roofs. You've got a massive disconnect between the fans and the club in general. You've got a training ground that is no longer fit for purpose, basically. It used to be modern, now it's in state of the art, now it's like a museum. Plus you've got a women's team that's just been forgotten about. That was given all these bells and whistles about how we're going to have this great women's team, and losing all our best players, and Casey Stoney left because the facilities weren't great. I know that was a little while ago, but you get my point. Plus we've got other teams leaving us behind on the football pitch because we've just had mismanagement when it comes to the way the football side of things has been done. And I'm not just talking about the managers we've had people like Ed Woodward making football decisions. It's an absolute farce. Plus these lot have still left us in £700 million worth of debt. We had the strategic alternative thing 11 months ago and still nothing's changed, and they keep taking dividends. They can fuck off. Robin Ty says, you see Newcastle tonight and how they are progressing. Man City are doing now for a longer period. We need Qatar.
Now, can I just say?
Yeah.
You're probably right. And this is a sad indictment, I think, of modern football, where if you want Man United to compete with the likes of City and Newcastle, and you want that instant success, then you are probably right. It probably does need to be Qatar. I have other issues around it that I don't like. So
see, he says here, right, I get your point. He says, we need Qatar. The Middle East know what they're doing. Ratcliffe out. I think United can still be successful without Qatar taking over.
Do you?
I honestly 100% do. 100%. We have misspent a lot of money. That's the issue. It's not just we've not spent money. We've misspent it. Look at all United's biggest signings post Sir Alex Ferguson. Harry Maguire, Paul Pogba, Romelu Lukaku, Angel Di Maria, Alexis Sanchez, Radamel Falcao, Memphis Depay, and just in terms of wages, Sebastian Schweinsteiger. How many of these signings are successful?
Is that his brother, that Sebastian?
Oh, Bastian. Oh, sorry, why did I call him Sebastian? Sebastian Schweinsteiger. That's not. I don't even know if that's his full name. I don't think it is. Bastian Schweinsteiger. I don't know why I called him Sebastian. Yeah, that's how bad he was. He didn't play for us. But all these players in on massive wages, big transfer fees. How many of them have been successful? How many did you look back and go, that was a great signing for United?
Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
Who else? Anyone?
And since post Fergie, I think the obvious one for me is Bruno, but I don't think he. But even now, even the ones we're lauding about, you know, we go, oh, Casemiro, fantastic player. We spent 70 million quid on him, and he's got a 4-year deal.
And he looks knackered now.
Yeah, it's like
he already needs replacing.
Yeah, and
I don't mean replacing. I mean a player to come in and eventually take over.
So it's just been mismanagement. So I think, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I understand your point of view. Qatar come in and give you loads of money and make, especially when it comes to like the stadium and all that other stuff as well. But I think you can have a model where someone comes in, gets football people in charge of things, you have your budget, and you can make it work. As long as you've got money to spend, as long as it's not like your budget is 2 million quid or whatever. Because you look at, pains me to say it, the Scousers, they haven't got rich owners. They've won a Champions League, they've won a league, they've won an FA Cup and a League Cup, and have had relative success with the FSG model, which isn't that dissimilar from the Glazers in terms of the ownership. I say I don't want more Glazers, but my point is, it is doable. I think the main thing is you've got to have a strategy, a structure and a plan where you go, okay, this is how we're going to do it. What United have done is just got these idiots who don't know anything about football, who've just gone here to Ed Woodward, you help get us this club, you can be in charge, and just throw money at managers for a bit and then gone, actually, let's stop doing that. So when we finish 19 points behind City, instead of going for it, we go out, we buy Fred, Diogo Dalot and Lee Grant and think that's going to make up 19-point difference on Manchester City with Pep Guardiola. It's just ridiculous. Loads of people in the chat, I'll get to it and then we'll move on. Ross Murphy says, I miss Ander Herrera, was a captain in the making.
I don't think Ander Herrera is as good as some people make out.
Some
I know he
people
loved United, I know he played with passion, but he also left us in the mud for more money. I don't get this whole loving for Ander Herrera.
I know what you mean. I did like him when he was here. I think he was a good signing. I think he did his 5 years, whatever it was, did well, and then left. He's not anywhere remotely near like legendary status or anything like that. I do think he gets a little bit of cult hero love because of some of the things he did. You know, like the following Eden Hazard round, spitting on the City badge, grabbing Ross Barkley.
He's just backed him up. He's not
grabbing Ross Barkley in the semi-final. I love that. Darragh Raffers says Herrera was a short McTominay. Anyway, let's talk about Ten Hag being backed. Go on, guys, talk us through this.
Erik, 10 years. It's all right. It's easy, but it's all right. Ten Hag retains long-term Man United backing despite slump. Erik Ten Hag's position as United manager is secure for the foreseeable future and is not an issue up for discussion by the club executives. Ten Hag retains the firm confidence of the hierarchy, who view the Dutchman as the right manager to take the side forward in the long term. That's what The Guardian says. Although Ten Hag has never cited injuries as a reason for United's displays, it is acknowledged internally that he has suffered a particularly bad run, at one point being without 16 players.
I hope that's right. I hope the club are backing him. I worry.
The club aren't going to... Can I just say, like, we have this sort of narrative that, like, Man United all of a sudden sack managers all the time. I actually think United give managers more time than a lot of other clubs would. Like, I reckon every manager that we've sacked, there's an argument for sacking them 6 months earlier. And they didn't, and they stuck with him. And I think Erik Ten Hag could go through this bad point now, and he could carry on going through. He could get knocked out of the Champions League, which I personally think is very, very likely at this point. And I don't think he'll be going anywhere until the start of next season.
Which managers do you think could have been sacked 6 months before they were?
There were certainly arguments at times for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to get sacked earlier.
Right,
Louis van Gaal got sacked after winning the FA Cup.
Yeah.
He could have been sacked earlier than that.
Right.
Jose Mourinho was maybe causing a few issues.
Yeah, I mean...
David Moyes, come on.
But David Moyes had been sacked 6 months earlier. He'd been sacked 2 months into his job, but he could have been. The only reason I ask is because Ole finished second, then 6 months later got sacked, didn't he? Jose finished second, then 6 months later got sacked.
All right, 6 is an exaggeration, all right. 6, let's
we
say 6
could have sacked someone who finished second.
Let's say 6
You think second's good enough for this football club, Sunshine? Well, I've got a story for you. Hey, get your P45 and fuck off.
All right, let's go with 6 weeks.
No, I'm being a bit daft. I get your point. I think the thing with Van Gaal is, when we lost to Bournemouth, Stoke, and was it Norwich in a week, I think he was done, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he was done. We knew he was done. Just no one told him to the FA Cup final.
I wanted Ralph Rangnick sacked after like 6 games, mate.
I wanted him after that second half against Palace. The first half was ace, and the second half, actually, this is more of the same. This is worse than Ole. But we got away with it for a bit, didn't we? It's just been... I get your point. Like, the thing is, United haven't had... Like, I know we've had a lot of managers post-Fergie, but it's not that many in terms of some look at other clubs. Other clubs like Chelsea, other ones, a lot of other clubs go through manager after manager after manager after manager. I think we need to break the cycle though, because we do give managers 2 and a bit years, don't we? Unless it's Moisey, like you said, who got 8 months. But Jose got 2 and a bit years. Ole got 2 and a bit years. And it's start again, new manager. Because whoever comes in, as someone was saying in the chat there, is going to inherit Anthony, Martinez, Onana, who are very much Ten Hag signings.
Do we have a scouting team?
Yeah, it's him.
His phone book?
It's Erik Ten Hag. That's the scouting team, isn't it? You know when we bought Mason Mount, or when we were linked with him? I think me and you talked about this last time around. And it was like, Mason Mount, manager loves Mason Mount. You think, all right, then as a player, he likes him, he's just seen him at Chelsea. Because he knows him from his youth track days. You think, yes! Is everyone just someone he knows from his days in Holland?
He was great against Kloop and Schlupp on the Sunday.
Like, what is this? Everyone is like, I saw him once when I was at Utrecht, get him. Like, 60 million, get him. Like, every single signing, I'm not saying I don't like Mason Mount, I do, but like, it seems like every single signing is because he knows him. I think Casemiro's the only one we've bought on it. Do you know what I mean?
Quite well known was Casemiro.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't like Casemiro. I don't remember watching him in the Dutch league. Don't bother.
Hey, we've got this hidden gem for you, right? He's a Brazilian.
But even then, it was like, didn't we go for Rabiot first? Okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird, isn't it? I like Erik Ten Hag. But yeah, Whitterbird says, can you imagine a new manager with what's this? Can you imagine a new manager with still a Sir Alex Ferguson player, Evans under contract? Oh yeah, sorry, right. So can you imagine a new manager coming in and still having a Sir Alex Ferguson player under contract in Johnny Evans? Johnny Evans' performances all this season have been phenomenal.
Look, it's a sad indictment, I think, that Johnny Evans is back at Man United.
I just think we wanted to get the number of title winners in the squad up.
Oh, right.
So it's like we haven't got anyone who's won the Premier League here.
It's a whole.
Let's get Johnny Evans. He's won 3.
It's a wholesome, lovely story, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I like to see him buzzing about it, and it would be great if he was our 6th choice centre back, and he never played, or he played in like the odd game here and there, maybe like 5, 10 appearances a season off the bench. But that's not what's been happening.
Did you join the meltdown when he was starting against Burnley?
Oh,
my group chats were going off the scale.
a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And it was like,
yeah.
as Alexi would say, finished club was the terminology I was hearing a lot of. But he did all right, didn't he? He did well.
He did very well.
Ant L has been. No, I don't know what I'm saying here. Sorry, Ant L says, owner apathy is the virus killing our club. I understand that. Also, talking about United legends, we're going to be in Dublin with a bona fide United legend on the 28th of December. Me, Howsu, McCullough and Joe, and also John O'Shea is joining us on the 28th of December. There's a link in the description. Come and join us. We want you lot down there. Tickets are on sale now. Come and have a look, and it'll be
running down the wing.
Yeah, it'll be. If you can get down there, it'll be fantastic to see
play.
you all there because we're looking forward to it. It should be a very, very good event indeed. Right, let's look at I think this is one of the last stories we've got actually. So the board are back in Ten Hag. Anyway, go on, you talk us through this, brother.
I'm not singing it. I'm not singing it. Why you gotta be so rude? Which I believe was a 2014 hit for the pop band Magic. Yeah, that's my capital days coming in handy.
I was about to say, how do you know that?
Yeah, I don't know. Rasmus, that's down with the kids, aren't I, Jay? Rasmus Hojlund was compared to Ruud van Nistelrooy by Paul Scholes. Scored twice, obviously, once at either end of the ground. Now has 3 goals in 2 games, 2 Champions League games as well, meaning he is the tournament's leading goal scorer at this early stage.
Crikey.
Mad, innit?
It's all happening.
Scholes said, Hojlund especially took his 2 goals brilliantly. I absolutely loved his second goal in particular. He gave the centre-half no chance with a clean pair of heels. He also had another goal disallowed, and I thought, wow, there's a bit of Ruud van Nistelrooy in there. Really excites me. That's what he said to ManUnited.com.
What do you make of that? The comparisons with arguably the greatest striker I've ever seen.
I mean, that second goal was quite rude, wasn't it?
Nice,
As in,
yeah.
it was quite Van Nistelrooy.
Rude-esque.
It was nice. Rude-esque, yeah. Yeah, mate, he played really well, didn't he? I thought last night. I don't think he put a foot wrong. Yeah, that second goal, you were just like you were screaming at the ground, like just keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't cut back, for the love of God, don't cut back. And he didn't, and he applied a brilliant finish at the end of it. Obviously, looked absolutely gutted after the game, and I think he's had a good start at Man United. But
he deserved to be on the winning side last season.
He's a 20-year-old kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He should be. Right, I hate comparing us to City. I hate City.
I hate City. I really hate City.
But they've got Erling Haaland as their number 1, right? Fair enough. Top class striker, the best in the world. They've got Julian Alvarez as their backup. How good is that for Alvarez? He's a player who starts for any Premier League team below the top 4, I think. But he's not got that pressure on him, so he can just develop now. He's got Haaland in front of him. He knows he's not going to displace Haaland, but he's just going to get better and better. That's what Hojlund should have. Hojlund should have someone in front of him who's experienced, who knows what he's doing. I also think there's a sense that I shouldn't really be comparing us to Man City because we're not competing with Man City this season. I should be comparing us to Brighton.
Or Brighton or Brentford.
Or Aston Villa.
Yeah. It's a big 6-pointer for us this weekend.
Even Brighton, they've got Danny Welbeck as the number 1. Experienced Premier League striker.
The best Premier League striker
behind him,
ever.
One of the best, I think, the best young talent currently in the Premier League, one of the best in Evan Ferguson. Yeah. That's what a great situation that is. If Evan Ferguson had the pressure of leading the line every week, maybe for a team a bit bigger than Brighton, then I don't think he'd be playing well as well. Look at Mudryk at Chelsea. I think he's too young to be being relied on like he is. I know he's just got his first goal, but he's just got his first goal, for God's sake.
He scored, is it 13 professional goals?
Really?
In his career.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. He went for 80 million. whatever it was, and Arsenal win for him as well. That's mental, that. I missed the super chat for Nick Collins says, Gaz, Herrera didn't mug us off. We took too long to offer him a contract. Don't blame him for leaving after we messed him about.
Fair play.
There's also, there's talking of like two sides to every story. The Beckham documentary's out.
Not watched it yet.
I know, I need to see that. It's on Netflix. Love David Beckham, one of the greatest players
My idol.
ever.
He's the only reason I've got my ear pierced.
Really?
Yeah, when I was 7 years old, I was like, Mum, we're going Claire's. Look at Beckham. I want one.
Really? It could have gone the other way. You could have like covered in tattoos now. Mum, we got a tattooist. Is it a tattooist?
Yeah. A tattoo artist.
Tattoo artist. We're going there. Yeah. We're going to get my neck covered in
I'm like
tattoos.
Beckham in many ways. Supermodel wife.
Yeah.
All that. Yeah.
Mint at football.
130.
Gorgeous. 130
Yeah.
England caps, and you've got your ear pierced. In fact, it's uncanny.
And I sound like a bit of an idiot when I speak.
And you're a Cockney.
Yeah.
You can tell by the accent.
just putting this on.
Gaz, it's always a pleasure when me and you get together, brother. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to and where people can get involved.
Like I said before, if you're a Man United fan, you might like the Devil's Advocate podcast. It's available on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts. Called the Devil's Advocate, all about Man United. Me and Joe McGrath. We upload a new episode every Monday. But today I got a text from Joe just saying, Gaz, emergency podcast right now. I'm fuming. So that's what we did today. We got an emergency one together. And if you're just a sport fan in Manchester in general, you can listen to Total Sport 6 till 7 on BBC Radio Manchester, talking all things sport in Manchester.
Oh, mate, how'd you do that? How'd you talk about sport? Honestly, I'd be lost, bro. I only know about football and everything else. I'm like,
I make it up as I go along.
Oh, mate, I do that on here, to be fair. That's been Gaz Jim. I'm Jay Motty. Don't forget, I put a link in the chat for the event on the 28th of December. If you can get over to Dublin, come and join us. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll have the news in the morning and I'll have the off the bar. If Joe's fit and well and back again, we'll have me, Adam McCullough, Stephen Howson and Joe Smith. But if not, it'll just be me, McCullough and Howson. So make sure you're hitting like, share and subscribe. That's been Gaz Jim. I've been Jay Motty. Thanks for watching.